It's funny since after going through multiple living environment classes, passing with all A's, I never actually learned how the world works. Something so small like growing a tree is absolutely shocking to me. Throughout public high school, I learned so much Common Core and completely mistracked what was real. It wasn't until I was alone in my house that I learned so much about living. The time I was given to myself during quarantine allowed me to focus on what I actually wanted to learn compared to what I should cram before the next AP test. I was able to learn life skills, along with the knowledge that should be considered a requirement for kindergarteners. I learned about politics, history, science, which developed me into becoming a more well-rounded person more than any year of New York City public high school ever could. The education system that I grew up in focused on tests rather than basic life lessons such as how plants worked. I never got to see firsthand a number of things that are important to human life. I never had a skills class that taught me more practical knowledge like cooking, repairing household items, or where the water from my sink came from. The plants shown in the beginning of the video are lemon trees. In the beginning of quarantine, I took lemon seeds out of a regular lemon from the grocery store and planted them. This sparked a completely new interest for me that Common Core somehow skipped over. Each individual sprout in the container shown here is a separate lemon tree from an individual seed. For reference, there is about 15 trees in this container alone. This container is actually a repurposed strawberry container that is from the grocery store. At first, the container had a lid on to keep in the humidity. Trapping in the humidity tricks the seeds into thinking it is warm weather, causing them to grow. Spraying the leaves with water also gives the same illusion. As you can see, over time they grew and they needed to be planted. Once the sprouts are repotted into a bigger and real pot this time, they can continue to grow. They need lots of water and fertilizer. The white on top of the soil in the pot here is actually crushed eggshells, which is an organic nitrogen fertilizer for the plants. The eggshells are also helpful because they balance out the pH level of the soil. In the end, you can see how the younger lemon trees compare to a much larger 2-year-old tree, which still needs lots of humidity. Next is the avocado plant, which works a little differently from lemon seeds. I took the pit from an avocado from the grocery store and peeled off the outside layer. I wrapped it in a wet paper towel and put it into a Ziploc bag. While everyone knows the fruits and vegetables they eat have seeds, most people don't realize that it is possible to grow these seeds. We have been conditioned into thinking that these seeds are garbage. The one in this video took 3 months to split open. After the seed splits open, a root can start to grow in between. When this happens, you can take some toothpicks in order to hold up the avocado seed and balance it in a jar with water. The water should reach about halfway on the seed. Over time, the root will start to grow down into the water and form smaller roots. Once this happens, the roots will grow very fast to the bottom of the jar. Over time, the seed will start to grow upwards and sprout leaves to capture in sunlight. Planting the roots in soil after they have been in water for a while is possible, but in my experience, I think it is better to leave it in the water. I think avocados grow much better in water, plus it looks a lot cooler. This is an example of amateur versus expertise and shows a common misconception. Most people think that all plants need to be in dirt, but that is not true. A ton of the food we eat every day was grown in a hydroponic farm that doesn't use any soil, just water. In this picture, this is a hydroponic farm that is using a vertical growing technique. Here you can see the comparison of the roots and the leaves of two different avocado trees. And finally, you can see the difference of the avocado tree at different stages of life.